Hey, the best deals of this new year are waiting for you right now at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Do you need proof? Well, how about this? It's camellia time. And Bob Wines has them by the hundreds, no, by the thousands. Starting with his famous budded and blooming heirloom camellias. They start at just $9.99. And yes, those shade-loving Super Japonica camellias, they're beginning to bloom right now, and they're just $19.99. And yes, it's time to plant trees, and Bob Wines has a super selection. They're all low-priced shade trees. You buy one, you get one at half price. The same is true for citrus trees. Buy one, get one at half price. So start your year right with a wonderful visit to this 5-acre garden. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. They're on Southeast 38th Street in Ocala, away from all the traffic, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person, it's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on a Monday. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday observed today. Couple stories I want to get to out of this from Tallahassee. One of them from Tallahassee. Governor Ron DeSantis activated the National Guard in response to possible protest. In the executive order, he's directed the Guard's commanding officers to coordinate with state and local enforcement to maintain peace in the state leading up to the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden on January 20th. The governor said repeatedly that violence of any kind is unacceptable. The governor went out of his way to thank law enforcement officials for taking swift action on this matter. He issued the executive order the same day that Tallahassee Mayor John Daley requested Guard deployed downtown around the Capitol. Mayor Daley said, "We hope that there's no violence, but we must have a plan to keep the community safe from any violent protesters that may show up." As always, we appreciate any collaborative effort between local, state government in helping us maintain vigilance and order through these times. So the governor activated the National Guard and will stay activated through the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden on Wednesday. This coming on the heels of the FBI announcing that they are now having to vet 25,000 troops, 25,000 National Guard members that are coming to Washington. The massive undertaking tells you how extraordinary the security concerns are. And all this is because of the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. And by the way, it was an insurrection. For people to say it wasn't an insurrection, yes, it was. But for people to say it was pro-Trump rioters, that's now being proven to be not completely true, as there are many reports now of arrests being made of people who, when they were arrested, have admitted that they were wearing Trump clothing and all to mix in and filter in so that they could go anonymously and cause havoc and mayhem. And when I mean people that weren't Trump supporters are the people that are admitting this now. I think last time I heard there was 9 people that have been arrested that were not that or not Trump supporters that admitted to donning the clothes of Trump supporters so that they would fit in and be camouflaged in the group of protesters that went into the Capitol. So for all of you people out there that said it was pro-Trump supporters, yes and no. It's now coming to light that there were some antagonists that weren't pro-Trump supporters that dressed like pro-Trump supporters so that they would be camouflaged and fit in. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy told the Associated Press on Sunday, officials are conscious of the potential threat of troops being loyal to President Trump. He warned commanders to be on the lookout for any problems within their ranks. However, he said, there's no evidence of any threats, and officials said the vetting hadn't flagged any issues. So they're just being vigilant, he said. We're continually going through the process, taking second and third looks at all the individuals assigned to this operation. Once again, that brings me back to my statement that I opened the show with Galen Unal. where are we at as a society in this country where now we have to have armed guards 25,000 strong in Washington, D.C. to make sure we have a peaceful transfer of power. And now it looks like, with reports coming out, it wasn't just Trump supporters. It was people camouflaged as Trump supporters that caused some of the unrest as well. So, there's a lot of troublemakers out here in the world that are causing issues and causing this trouble. And the vast majority of people don't agree with how they go about doing it. And I for one think anybody, if you are a Trump supporter and you did this, you should face retribution. If you're a non-Trump supporter and you donned Trump clothing to camouflage yourself, you should face the retribution too. Just as for the riots that happened in Washington, D.C., just as anybody who took part in the burning of police precincts, federal buildings, Targets, looting Targets and Walmarts that happened all over the summer, last summer. The people who occupied Seattle, 12 blocks of Seattle, wouldn't let people in or out. It was Seattle or Portland. It's one of those cities out in the Northwest. You should be held accountable and prosecuted to the full extent of the law as well. Nobody's above the law. And the news media wants to tell you how all the rioters that took over the Capitol or tried to take over the Capitol should be prosecuted. And it's not the same thing as, what happened last summer. Yes, it is. For a group of people to take over an entire downtown and disrupt the economy of an entire downtown area, not allowing people in and out, having checkpoints set up and everything, do you forget that happened? Well, that's just as bad. And how many of those people have you seen prosecuted? Where's the leader of that group? Why have they been brought up on charges? It's lost on me how that doesn't happen. And then I saw this story. And you want to talk about angry? I saw this story and I've sat on it I saw it last Friday and then I watched it this weekend. I heard that there had been some inklings of this last week, and then I saw it for myself yesterday. And I went, huh. Everybody watches, not everybody, but people know what CNN is, cable news network. Started by Ted Turner as a first 24-hour news station. And in the last 10, 12 years, CNN has made it no secret that they do not like the conservative agenda. They don't even try to hide it. The CNN openly tells you through their broadcasting that they do not like the conservative agenda. It's just what CNN does. Well, they're doing it again, but now it's not about the conservative agenda that they don't like. It's they want to censor it. CNN, I watched people, Oliver Darcy, I watched him. I can't believe that he's allowed to say this on the air. He openly has demanded cable operators drop Newsmax. I'm telling you that this is not, I'm not making this up. His quote was, after all, it was the very lies that Fox, Newsmax, and OAN spread that helped prime President Trump supporters into not believing the truth. He demands, and his demands have been echoed on CNN's show Sunday, and I watched this, the Reliable Sources show. Brian Steltner said on the show, we need to deplatform Newsmax. The same way that Twitter deplatformed President Trump, we need to do that to Newsmax. We're going to have to figure out the Newsmax problem. This is a former Facebook chief security told CNN Steltner on the show, these companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast and such, bringing them into tens of millions of homes. He said, we have to turn down the ability of these conservative influencers to reach huge audiences. So here is a television broadcast on CNN saying we have to turn down the capability of the conservative influencers to reach a large audience. What? So you're telling me you're supposed to be telling me the news. You're supposed to be a news outlet. Cable news network. That isn't what you're doing here. Now you're trying to be the brown shirts. You're trying to be the Russian KGB. When you demand that cable outlets take away the capability of conservative influencers to reach audiences. So you don't like their message. So because you don't like their message, they should be thrown off cable. I told you this was a slippery slope that was going to happen when you saw someone like Amazon Web Services taking down a website they didn't agree with in Parler. I knew that this slippery slope, as soon as they saw that this was able to happen, all the media, CNN was the first to do it, but they're all thinking it, we're going to start calling for shutting down conservative talk. That's censorship, 100%. That's what happened. That's what governments do that don't want their people to know how much in control the government is versus the people not being in control. CNN's own show, its own host, Brian Stelter, and Alex Stamos, who's the former Facebook chief officer who was on the show, said we have to make sure the capability of conservative influencers can't reach audiences. Then Oliver Darcy, who is a big-time star at CNN, he doubled down that comment saying, I want to demand cable operators which carry Newsmax consider closing them down. So here's a news outlet, CNN, that one of its top stars on its programming put out a tweet demanding cable operators which carry Newsmax close down the outlet. Then a guest on one of the shows said, we have to turn down the capability of conservative influencers to reach audiences. So now the news media is not giving us the news. They're telling us that if the news isn't what they give you, it needs to be taken away so you don't have access to it. What? I'm telling you, folks, it's a slippery slope that Amazon started and Facebook started by dropping President Trump off their platforms. And it now has emboldened big news outlets like CNN. Stands for Cable News Network. But they're not giving you the news. They're giving you their desire to censor people who don't agree with them. They demand cable operators which carry Newsmax close down the outlet. They demand the turning down of the capability of conservative influencers to reach audiences. Now, wonder if it has anything to do with Newsmax's skyrocketed to become the fourth highest rated cable news channel in the country. Maybe that has anything to do with it. That it went from obscurity to now hugely tuned into. And it takes advertising dollars away from CNN. Wonder if that has anything to do with it. Follow the money, people. But also realize that a news media outlet is openly and without any kind of embarrassment calling for cable systems to drop another news outlet because it doesn't agree with their ideology. demanding cable operators which carry Newsmax close down the outlet. That's Oliver Darcy. And a guest on CNN Stetler's Reliable Sources show yesterday, the former Alex Stamos, former Facebook security chief, said, we have to turn down the capability of conservative influencers to reach audiences. That's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. Thank you to Facebook and Twitter for starting us down that slippery slope. That's where we're at. Hi, caller. Who's this?
It's Sonny.
I kind of knew it was going to be you, Sonny.
Couldn't be that CNN's ratings went into the tank, could it?
Of course not, Sonny. That has nothing to healthy competition has nothing to do with it. CNN is just trying to save you because guys like you and I, our ideology is so skewed that we don't need, we can't have a constant reminder of what we think. We need to have that taken from us so that CNN can tell us what to think. That's the whole motivation. Come on, Sonny.
It just goes to prove that you got different rules for different people. I mean, it's what they say and not what you think or say.
Yeah, completely correct.
It's called the First Amendment, and these people don't seem to get it.
And I agree, Sonny. Thanks for the call. We're up against the break, but I agree 100%. And the fact that they're calling for cable companies to drop Newsmax because they don't like the message Newsmax is sending out, that's a sad, sad affair. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up the Monday edition of Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. Right after this, we'll be right back.
What you need is RoofMax. RoofMax is a revolutionary green roofing solution that can save you $10,000 or more by greatly extending the life of your existing roof. Here's how it works. Asphalt roof shingles have essential oils to keep them flexible and waterproof. Over time, this oil dries out, causing your roof to become brittle and slowly break apart. A RoofMax treatment saturates your roof with millions of microbeads, restoring flexibility and continued waterproof protection. It's like a skin moisturizer for asphalt shingles. RoofMax treatments are guaranteed for 5 years, and repeating treatments can extend your roof's life for up to 15 years for a fraction of the cost of replacement. RoofMax uses satellite measurement software to provide a hassle-free, contact-free price quote over the phone in under 5 minutes. No in-person house call required. Get your instant quote by calling 352-639-2777. That's 352-639-2777.
The next Higher Education Happenings radio show with the College of Central Florida will be Thursday, January 21st at 8:35 a.m. We will discuss the need for first responders and CF's new critical transport program. Rod McGinnis, Associate Dean of Health Sciences, will be our guest to describe the options available to students who are looking to be a frontline healthcare worker. Brought to you by the College of Central Florida and WOCA, The Source.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new truck.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Think you know Dex Imaging? Think again. In the office, streamlining communications. In the field, delivering top-notch service, enhancing productivity and reducing downtime. In the data center, a part of the growing digital document revolution. In the world of business, supporting entrepreneurs and helping companies grow. In the forefront of technology, developing cutting-edge document management solutions. So if you think you know Dex Imaging, you don't know Dex.
AccuSleep offers a safe and effective medical option for those who suffer from sleep disorders of all kinds. AccuSleep makes restoring healthy sleep patterns possible. No medication, no surgery, just good sound sleep. Mend your sleep so you can stop counting sheep. Experience restorative sleep at AccuSleep, the acupuncture sleep clinic in Ocala by calling 352-615-5566.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back as we wrap up a Monday edition of Ocala Talk. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's celebrated the third Monday of January every year since 1986 federally, signed into law by President Reagan in 1983.
You know, I have a question. I don't know of any city that does not have a Martin Luther King Boulevard on it.
I think most of them do now. Even small town. I mean, Statesboro, Georgia, which is about the size of Ocala, it has one. Ocala has one.
Well, Ocala's big.
Right. Well,
compared to some towns.
I'm in the city proper.
Yeah, 55,000 people plus.
But, that's a small town when you live in Atlanta.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so.
Well, yeah, you think, but yeah.
I didn't realize all that Martin Luther King did. I went on history.com and got a synopsis. I knew he was a Baptist minister. I knew that. Ebenezer Baptist Church. Yeah. He first came to prominence, I didn't realize this, in the bus boycott by African Americans in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. The Rosa Parks boycott.
Really?
Yeah. He founded, I knew this, he founded the Southern Christian Leadership Coalition Conference in 1957. He led the March on Washington in 1963. That's the I Have a Dream speech.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you think?
He was the most influential of African-American civil rights leaders during the 60s. He helped pass the Civil Rights Act of 64. He also helped pass the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I'd forgot he was a Nobel Prize winner.
Oh, really?
He won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1964. And then April 4th of 1968, he was gunned down by James Earl Ray. And as he was on the balcony of his hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. There was a call immediately for a national holiday in his honor. Beginning in 1970, a number of states and cities made his birthday, January 15th, a holiday. Congress, as early as 1968, introduced legislation to make his birthday a national holiday. But it finally happened in 1983. Ronald Reagan signed it, making the third Monday in January a federal holiday. And the first one was observed in 1986. So that's a long time coming for a man who did a lot to further race relations in this country.
Oh, yeah. He was a very intelligent gentleman.
And I heard, I talked to people who attended his church, because I lived in Atlanta for quite a while, I talked to people who were teenagers and all that went to Ebenezer Baptist Church when they were teenagers.
You didn't sleep through any of it.
Said that he was amazing in the pulpit giving a sermon.
Oh, he talked that way.
Right.
I mean, even afterwards, he talked that way.
He did. So, great leader of men. And
there's a lot of great leaders out there that have passed.
Right.
And have not gotten the recognition that I think should be.
That they deserve.
Like Kennedy, for me, is one of them. I think he should have one.
Yeah.
Me. That's my opinion.
It's called President's Day.
No. See, that's President's Day. That's grouping in all the presidents. And I'm sorry.
It used to be called President's Day. It used to be called Washington's birthday. Yeah. We celebrated Washington's birthdays and Lincoln's birthday. Right. Then they made it into President's Day.
Yeah, no, that was wrong. I think that was wrong. Again, this is my opinion. You can agree or disagree.
Yes, send all your emails if you don't agree to Tom. No, wait.
You got that right.
Hey, Joe, good to have you back in the building.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. I know you were in town the whole time, but good to have you back in.
Incognito. That's right next to Vinny's.
And now you'll be able to help me combat Gary and Hank. Because, it's hard as a one-man person to get.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
See you tomorrow. WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Chinese officials said Monday that their gross domestic product expanded by 4.9% in the third quarter from a year earlier, putting China's economy back toward its pre-coronavirus levels. The Wall Street Journal